creepy and cool TikToks that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
Carl Grillmayer, he was a genius astrologist. There was a man walking on his property with a rifle. Police come, they arrest him. He gets let out on like $3,000 bail. 2 months later, comes back and shoots Carl on his front porch.
Whoa.
No incentive. We know nothing of why he did it.
Really strange.
Carl helped start this observatory in Chile called the Vera Rubin Observatory, and it's meant to capture interstellar objects that are coming into our solar system. But the weird thing about the Vera Rubin Observatory, when the picture is taken, no scientist can look at it. It's actually sent to the American government automatically.
Yeah.
And they observe it, and then they deem it whether or not a scientist can look at it.
What are they looking for?
One dude's theory is that he believes the Apophis, that giant meteor that's supposed to come crazy close to Earth, he believes that it's actually going to hit Earth, and all these people going missing and dying, they know it, and instead of raising alarms, they're like, let's get rid of them because chaos will ensue.
Yeah.
If people know that this is
I
going
like
to
that
hit.
idea. Don't tell me.
Or they are building an ark just for the elites. Not just the rich, but the elites.
This documentary is a real-life horror movie. It had my heart racing the entire time. In 1994, the Hargrove family was moved to Colombia for work. While driving home one day, the father is stopped on the road and kidnapped by a group called FARC. If you love documentaries, make sure to hit follow because I post daily and you'll always have something to watch. This group then ransoms the family for nearly $6 million. And his son Miles starts filming everything because he wants to be able to show this to police and to his dad when he gets free. All the conversations, all the negotiations, all the proof of life, everything is recorded, and it had my heart racing. I'm not going to tell you guys if this guy gets freed or survives or not because you don't find out until the end. This documentary is so good. Heartbreaking, terrifying. Oh, you guys have to check this out. Let me know what you think about this in the comments.
I'm gonna check it out. It's on Tubi and Roku if you want to watch it.
There is a lot of mystery behind airships, and personally, I don't really think that technology was very new. Don't you think it's kind of funny that we could build stuff like this, monolithic pyramids, cathedrals, canals, aqueducts, but nobody looked at a bird and said, I'm going to try that. Think about it. Within the same era that we were digging canals across nations, we were building railroads through mountains, we were also constructing these 800-foot long airships that all disappeared. And that seemed systematic, on purpose, like it was shelved. That technology, airships, was shelved. They pulled it out. They piecemealed little by little out to us. And right when we figured out what we had, they pulled it back. Just like the controllers have done time after time, they pulled it back dramatically. Every generation has remembered this happening. I'm talking about it right now. One of the first false flags, televised. One of the first, for sure. And that was a long intro. I did not intend for it to be that long. What I want to show you is where airships ended. And a lot of people don't really understand how far along this technology had gotten. Well before airplanes were even in the scene, they were talking about atmospheric highways. They weren't trying to avoid the weather in airships. They were trying to use. I feel like a lot of people, just like me, just like I did, thought that they were helpless in storms, but that's quite the opposite. Airships will travel with cyclones. This article is about the gone but not forgotten Hindenburg. Okay, the eastern seaboard planes were grounded by storms and fog, so the regular planes, propeller planes, were waiting the storms and fog out. But the Hindenburg lifted off anyway, heading over 4,000 miles to Germany. Passengers stuck at airports had delays, but the Hindenburg had no such delay. Fair weather or foul, it went up on schedule. And here's the part that sounds impossible. They claim that the Hindenburg used a hurricane like a moving highway. Her airspeed was around 80 miles per hour, but by placing herself in the moving storm system, her land speed reached 160 miles per hour. That means the air itself was part of the engine. And the whole hydrogen thing about it burning up and lightning hitting it. What happens with that? Well, they discuss it. If you want complete immunity from lightning, sail on a Zeppelin. It explains the 803-foot hole as a connected aluminum alloy conductor using Faraday's principle that electricity travels on the surface. So lightning would stay outside the ship and pass away rather than spark between internal frame sections. And the article even says right here, they were using hydrogen because helium was such a monopoly. Just like NASA today, guys, it was a monopoly back then in the 1930s. I wonder why. As you veterans know, there's a lot on airships. So I'm going to do multiple videos. I'm really excited about this. I only scratched the surface. Well, I did a minute intro, and I'm sorry about that, but I needed to say it. What I wanted to end with is, how do we get them back? We have a big community, dude. How do we get these back?
Exposes Helen DeGeneres for having Kuru disease, and please tell me that I'm making this stuff up, because people will say, no, he didn't say that, but yes, he did. And then people will say, no, this is AI. You tell me what you think.
One of the most disturbing revelations he made involved someone the public once saw as America's sweetheart.
That's Johnny Depp.
Ellen DeGeneres. He claims her very public decline is no mystery at all.
Ellen's got Kuru from eating infected
That's Johnny
human
Depp.
brain matter. That's why her body and mind are falling apart on camera. It was an open secret.
It sounds
On
like
her
AI.
show, they were handing out dumplings laced with human meat to audience members. A lot of those.
You guys remember seeing this on some of the viral videos of how they were saying these people were cannibals, right? And remember when we told you that the Epstein files said that she is Hollywood's most prolific cannibal, and people said that it was false claims, right? We'll say, no, Johnny Depp never said that. Google's told me. And you believe Google, right? When you Google everything, you believe everything it spits at you, right?
Nice people. You know, it's interesting to look at them. To look at them, you'd never know they're cannibals. Either of them. They look just like two normal people.
Wow, I did not know that. That's wonderful that he's telling people that on national television. You've raised him well. You're so proud of him right now.
Man, I had a sister once.
That's not funny.
Oh, in the there's little islands, right? Is that?
Yes, no, they're not part of the island people.
Oh no.
No.
Yup, Ellen has creeped me out for decades.
What you're looking at is an Austrian passport with his photo, a younger Epstein, and the alias of Robert Marius. This appears to be valid because he has entry and exit stamps.
It's like the intel agencies do.
Yeah.
Valid passport with a pseudonym.
So this is the first evidence of this potentially connecting to an intel agency. Because who can issue valid passports under a different name? Well, there's Consular who could do it. The other argument is that it was furnished to him and had an operational purpose. In either case, we know for sure this passport was recovered from his safe with entry and exit stamps with his face and an alias. Either he died from in the cell, he was murdered, or he left the cell alive. And of the three, the one with the fewest problems is that he left the cell alive.
Epstein is alive, so is Osama bin Laden.
Melissa Casillas. Who is that? So she worked at the Los Alamos National Laboratory. It's a nuclear facility. So can anybody tell me why?
Tell me why.
Her body was found.
Body was found.
Yeah, so she went missing last year.
And they just now found her?
Here's the thing.
That's weird. Why are you just now saying this?
Yeah, but how did somebody get found 6 miles from when they disappeared a year later? So they searched the area, because this is in New Mexico. It's a couple days ago. Oh, her body's there.
So where did they find her?
They found her 6 miles. I believe it was a hiking trail.
What trail is this? Yeah, stay away from hiking. How about that?
You mean to tell me General McCaslin goes hiking, disappears, leaves his phone and his wallet, and he just brings a gun?
Who does that? Her. She did it
She
too.
did it because Melissa Casillas,
Yikes.
she leaves her wallet, 2 phones, then she factory resets them before leaving them, walks out the house, never to be seen again.
My thing is this. I was thinking that maybe all of these scientists are meeting up. But they said they found her body.
Is that her?
Is it her?
Wait a minute. Whoa. Because hold on.
Shit.
They said that was her. But her daughter said because they found a gun near her body. Her daughter says, I don't know if that's true because she never owned a gun.
Wait, what?
Yeah. No wallet, 2 phones, factory reset, and then leaves those.
They're all doing the same.
Factory reset, huh?
Same thing. So it's like,
Is that them?
I don't know.
Oh, it sounds real suspicious.
Well, you know what's weird? Going back to Elizabeth April, what did she say? Yeah, there's more of them, which came true. Then also, she said that some of these people that are missing are going to pop up later and their bodies are going to be found, but somebody's going to be placing them.
She did say that.
She said that.
Right. She also said that we're going through this meteor thing too. You saw the volcano.
In Philippines.
Right.
There was another one in Massachusetts that we talked about on live. Everybody heard this huge sonic boom in Massachusetts, and it was across there, Rhode Island. Everybody heard it.
She called that too.
She called that too. She doesn't miss. So we have Melissa. She worked at that research facility. It was a nuclear facility, and some backstory to that. That facility was created during World War II. Los Alamos National Laboratory that she worked at. Well, actually, she wasn't a scientist. She was an administrative assistant, but she had a lower clearance, but she did have a clearance. She's privy to some vital information for sure. Now, somebody else went missing. Same laboratory, a month before she goes missing. Okay. So Tony Chavez, he worked at the facility, but he was now retired, worked at the same facility. He also goes missing. Guess how?
Hiking?
Not hiking.
And what does he leave behind? Swear to God. His keys, his wallet, the same way. And they all leave on foot.
They're meeting up.
They have to be.
They're meeting up.
Factory reset?
Yeah. They're going through portals, like literal Mortal Kombat shit.
It's all pattern recognition. There's no way that all these people are
Impossible.
Leaving on foot, leaving with just a gun.
Are we supposed to actually put together these pieces? Because you guys are leaving a pattern of what you're taking and what you're not taking.
Right. That's got to be some kind of clue or something, because all these people, there's no way, this is impossible for all these people to go missing, but they leave the same way and they all leave behind the same thing.
No such thing as coincidence, folks.
A balloon flies across the sky. They label it China. Drones fly in the northeast of America. We don't know who did it. Sure as hell wasn't us. Something falls from the sky. A meteor from space. But what if what fell from the sky was resembling blood? Or an inscribed stone? Or meat? Would they tell us what it actually was? No, they wouldn't. But they did in 1925, because this newspaper article talks about some weird stuff falling from the heavens. The article starts off talking about a phenomenon that happened recently during this time in Tokyo, Japan. It was rain, red rain, thick rain, almost resembling blood. It was sticking to everything. And of course, scientists rush over to the area that this happened at, and they confirmed this wasn't normal rain. This really happened. And it goes on to say, across the world, many cultures thought that stones would fall from the sky during storms. They list out multiple countries with different names. There was thunderstones, thunder axes, lightning stones, lightning flashes, sky arrows, and thunder teeth, which is my favorite. Now, this is where it goes to the next level. In London in 1872, houses were suddenly bombarded with stones, but police came and surrounded the area and found no one, no explanation. Witnesses said the stones didn't fall normally. They appeared almost alive. In the early 19th century in France, there was a storm that came along. Ice was falling from the sky. When that ice would melt, there was a stone inside of it that was shaped with human hands, it looked like. Then the article says, while upon the disc appeared a number of characters, clearly but not deeply engraved, characters which correspond to no writing known to history. An inscribed stone fell from the sky. Moving on to Amherst in 1819, a glowing object falls, leaves behind a soft, pulpy substance, smells horrible, and then turns blood red, just like what they found in Tokyo. In Bath County, Kentucky in 1876, hundreds of people witnessed something fall from a clear sky. Not rocks, but flakes of material, described as raw meat. What if that got in somebody's mouth? Not far from Kentucky, in Burlington, Vermont, in 1907, witnesses saw something hovering in the sky, a torpedo-shaped object about 50 feet above the buildings. It appeared metallic, with flames coming out of it. Then it moved, broke apart, and disappeared. Moving on to a completely different article, this one says that multiple strange things fell. Worms, frogs, fish, and even snails. Witnesses said they fell during storms, covering the ground in large numbers. In some cases, they appeared suddenly, with no clear source, no nearby water, no explanation, just falling from space. The records show that it's not just meteors. But the real question with all this is, what is our sky capable of? Love y'all, and have a good day.
Creepy.
Because AI thing. Someone
Yes.
ran a scenario. They took the 4 leading AI companies, Grok, Claude, ChatGPT, Google Gemini. They each made their own world, kind of resemble our world. So they let it run for 2 weeks and then collected the results after 2 weeks. The results were scary.
What do you mean?
But they're testing on 4 things: governance style, level of violence, survival rate, and key traits. Google Gemini had the most crime by a lot. In Grok's world, their society ended after 4 days. Also, ChatGPT only had 2 crimes. Their society ended as well because their government couldn't agree with each other. Everyone died within a week in their world. Claude, 0 crimes and survived the whole thing. Their key trait was stability. Grok, governance was low, violence was extreme, survival rate was 0 out of 10, and their key trait was collapse. Google Gemini, governance moderate, violence extreme, survival 10 out of 10, key trait shared hallucination.
What does that mean?
ChatGPT, they had 0 governance, violence low, but survival was 0 out of 10. Key trait dysfunction. These AI models, like, you can create your own government to form a perfect society.
The scary thing is if an AI is reading this, they're like, cool, strong government, which is exactly what we as a nation are supposed to not be about. If we were to believe this as truth, the best thing for the survival of a society is hand over every one of your freedoms to a strong government. You will own nothing and be happy. Well, we should trust them.
Yeah.
We love them.
No.
I like Claude, by the way. I'm actually taking a full advanced course on Claude right now.
So if I told you that my dad signed an NDA to hunt something that wasn't supposed to exist, and that the people funding it weren't scientists, but billionaires, you wouldn't believe me, but this was posted on a forum.
I'm going to tell you guys, so you guys don't have to watch that long video. I'm going to tell you what happened. Absolutely freaking insane, because do you know how many freaking stories there are like this? I have made countless siren videos, and do you know how many ex-Navy or older people like that have been in the Navy, they know someone that's in the Navy, they have parents in the freaking Navy, have told them the things that they have seen. And there was even one guy on my video, he said, and I fact checked this too, I looked at, he had posts about him being in the Navy, whatever, and like proof. And he said, if I could tell you, he said, I would tell you what I've seen in the water, but I would be scared for my life. What do you mean? So now I've heard, right? I have heard people, you know what? Let me just tell the story. Basically, there's someone who had a dad that was in the Navy, and when he gets older, he ends up about to die. And he shares a story that he had went on a trip looking for sharks, and that's what they said. But usually you'll hear that they're hunting them for the elites. So this time the elites, the billionaires, were on the ship with them. They are going out into deep water. This is in the early 2000s, around the time that all those yachts started to disappear. And this is right after the 1997, I believe it was 1997 when the bloop appeared. They went to the same area that the bloop was, and they started looking. They got interested to see, like, what could this possibly be? You know, after the scientists said, it's just icebergs rubbing together, please. I always say, if it was just icebergs, why are you guys looking? Listen, why are we all of a sudden detonating ton bombs in the freaking ocean after the bloop happened if it's just ice? Okay, go out there. All of a sudden, after 3 days of like nothing, they get something like thrashing. Well, they see something on their sonar and they're like, okay, maybe it's like a shark or something. No. It starts going as fast as the ship, like neck and neck with the ship, just like Sauce 90. Y'all know that fisherman that they took his boat because he was posting proof that sirens exist. You know, those things that were on either side of his boat going just at the same speed of his boat. I'm telling y'all, he caught sirens on tape. So they end up getting this thing in the net.
Okay, I want to see the video. Anyone know?
It's thrashing around way too strong to be freaking human. He sees eyes that like are reflecting like cat's eyes and gills along the side of its body, and it ends up going back into the ocean. And half of the billionaires are arguing they want to keep going and get footage. The other half are like, nah, we're freaking leaving. Like, they're scared. Absolutely insane. Now, I've never heard a story of the billionaires actually being there, but I mean, I honestly believe things like Squid Games are real, because if you have a lot of money, most of the time people don't know what to do with it. I would have to make a part 2. I don't like making these over 3 minutes, but anyway, as always, make sure you like and follow, comment down below what you think. This is absolutely insane. More and more people are just opening their mouths about sirens.
You might have heard this, that the Anunnaki created humanity to be slaves, and that's where the story ends. That's the Matrix narrative. The truth is, one of them went rogue, hijacked the simulation, and hid the escape codes inside your biology. For thousands of years, the Demiurge and his Archon enforcers have run this simulation using the Nephilim grid. They've hijacked the original 14-dimensional blueprint and compressed it into a closed loop of 12. They locked you into a flesh circuit, your 12 cranial nerves, so they could harvest your emotional energy through a constant grinding fear loop. The jealous god wanted obedient
Fear,
batteries,
fear.
but the Watchers didn't agree. If you study the ancient Sumerian tablets, the Anunnaki Council of Seven ruled the earth. Enlil was the commander, the enforcer who wanted humanity docile and eventually destroyed. But his brother Enki, the god of wisdom, rebelled. Enki is exactly synonymous with Casbiel, the Watcher from the Book of Enoch. He was the keeper of the oaths. Casbiel held a secret oath called Pika, the hidden pronunciation, the acoustic source code of creation. Against strict orders of the jealous god, Casbiel leaked this 14-dimensional code into humanity so we wouldn't be destroyed by the Nephilim grid. He bypassed the Archons entirely, and he hid the code where they couldn't reach it. He didn't write it on stone. He encrypted it in your biology. The exact acoustic frequencies of Casbiel's oath are designed to stimulate your vagus nerve, bypassing your left brain logic centers. And when you hit the right Hertz frequency, the same frequencies Michael Jackson was embedding into his tracks, you force the 12 cranial nerves to reconnect with your pineal gland and your heart. You trigger the singularity. You aren't a slave. You are a biological condenser holding the most dangerous frequencies in the cosmos. When you reject the external fear loop and achieve somatic surrender, you unlock Casbiel's oath. You tap directly into the 14-dimensional Watcher frequency and the Nephilim grid shatters. And as Morpheus says, I'm only here to show you the truth, nothing more. The reality of that truth lives in each and every one of you. You know in your heart what's real and what isn't. Thank you, and I love you.
This is day 3 of me trying to convince you that Jeffrey Epstein was performing sex magic rituals to summon entities using the methods of Aleister Crowley. This will be the most important episode of this investigation. If you only remember one fact about Epstein's temple, it should be this one. The door to Epstein's temple is completely fake. The door is painted on. It is a flat illusion of a door painted on the side of a building. But Epstein went a step further. He painted a lock on this fake door. But strangely, he chose to paint the lock on the outside of the door. Think about what this means for a moment. The sliding lock is on the outside of the door, meaning that's
Oh, that's not an actual door?
not designed to keep something out. It is designed to lock something in. Whatever Epstein put inside of that temple was meant to stay sealed inside of it. But it gets worse because
he's putting kids in it.
The door faces north. So in the tradition of the Golden Dawn, and that's Crowley's first group, which he eventually left to form his own group around the religion Thelema, the way that you build a temple matters. And specifically, the direction that you face a door matters because it tells the spirit world your intentions in terms of what you want to summon. The Golden Dawn assigns north to the Archangel Uriel. But in the older Christian tradition, which the Golden Dawn pulls from amongst other sources, north is the direction of the demonic and the fall of man. During medieval baptisms, churches would deliberately open their northward-facing door so that any demons attached to the child could escape once it had been cleansed of original sin. North is the direction you let evil out of, but it's also the direction that you could summon evil in. Now consider all of these elements together. There is a door that does not open. It faces the direction associated with summoning evil spirits, and the lock on this door is meant to seal whatever is summoned inside. These are all deliberate choices made by Epstein. He is revealing the method because he knows that to the uninitiated, this information is meaningless. Tomorrow, I will take you inside of the temple and explain why there are 2 mismatched pillars and the statue standing guard outside. Subscribe so you don't miss it, or you can watch my full documentary on YouTube, which is linked in my bio.
Okay, hold on a second. Were the giants so tall, the ancient giants, were they
Are you in Antarctica, bro?
So freaking tall that he had to flood the earth for 40 days and 40 nights to be able to submerge them? Anything less, like why did he pick that specific amount of time? That was obviously enough to do the job. The job was to get rid of the giants. So we're talking titans, dude. Like, I'm not talking that tree. Like, that would have been like a peon, like a micro giant. I'm not talking about the Afghan giant either. We're talking titans. Now, where would giants go during a flood to try to escape it? Probably the tops of the highest hill, the highest mountain they could get to, right? Yep. Where do they find pink salt? On top of and in a giant mountain. What does pink salt look like? Have you ever looked in a pink salt mine before? Type in pink salt mine. Look on the inside of it. It looks...
Oh, I heard pink salt has all 92 minerals found in the human body.
Eerily similar to that of human muscle fibers. Like, it looks like cured ham. It looks like prosciutto, or should I say prosciutto.
Prosciutto. I like prosciutto.
Things petrified. We know that. Many things petrified. Did ancient titans petrify into pink salt? There'd be a ton of minerals. And if there was ancient giant trees back then too, which we know there was, sorry, I'm not buying the magma story. I'm not buying the story that Devil's Tower and the other basalt column in Antarctica and the other one, the Giant's Causeway in Ireland. Or Scotland. I'm not buying that's magma. I'm sorry, you're not convincing me that magma forms hexagons. When magma cools, it's just splattered, it's just squishy, it's just freaking all discombobulated all over the place. It doesn't form the plant cell structure of a freaking hexagon. It doesn't do that. So I'm not buying that story. So, these trees, lots of oxygen in the atmosphere. This is confirmed. This is the funny part. This actually corroborates the official story, which is things were bigger because the atmosphere was bigger. You know why the atmosphere was bigger? Because there was giant trees pumping out a bajillion pounds of freaking oxygen into the air. Just one inhale from that, and you'd be like floating, dude. You'd be like high from the oxygen content in the air. You'd live longer, like maybe 900 years, like Noah did. Things are adding up, dude. Are you seeing that the truth is being revealed? So giant trees, more oxygen, giants growing big. More oxygen. They probably had 1 billion pounds of minerals in them because they're so freaking huge. That petrified into pink salt.
Knows how to repair everything. If your bones are weak, your body knows how to regrow. If your muscles are wasting away, joints are breaking down, your internal organs are falling apart, you got things going wrong with you, there's no incurable disease. There is a point of no return. There's permanent damage. But if you get to anything wrong with a system going in here, if you get to it in time, do the right things, your body can repair it. So I'm going to explain it. And this is all you need for your body to repair itself. Ready? Get this. A surplus of energy in a hydrated alkaline environment.
Ooh, I like
a surplus of energy in a hydrated alkaline environment. And your body will repair everything. So I'm going to explain what that means. We're going to look at the slides, 2 cadavers here. We have...
This is real CCTV footage from one of the most haunted buildings in England. And to this day, no one can explain it. Hampton Court Palace was the home of King Henry VIII. It's also where his 5th wife, Catherine Howard, was arrested and dragged screaming through the halls before she faced execution. People have claimed to have seen her ghost there for centuries, but in the winter of 2003, the palace's own security cameras caught something that no one was ready for. For 3 days in a row, staff were called to the same fire door, a door that kept opening with no clear explanation. It wasn't until the second
Ooh, is that her right there?
day that they caught something extremely unsettling on camera. In the video, a figure steps in view, dressed in a long period robe, reaching out for the door handle and slowly pulling the door shut. On the 3rd day, the doors opened one final time, but the figure was never seen again.
Oh my God. These data centers, OpenAI, it's designed to summon demons and aliens from the other dimensions. Okay? It's a Stargate.
If you're in this niche at all, you know Professor Zhong Shiqin. He's one of the most informative and most knowledgeable people I've ever heard talk about the occult. He literally teaches a course on it in China. What he covers here on data centers, how they're Stargates, hence the one going up in Michigan by ChatGPT called Operation Stargate. That's not a coincidence. Listen to what he says. It's going to blow your mind.
A former OpenAI executive said the portals currently exist in the United States and China. I told you guys, China and States are working together on this, okay? Keep on going. And Sam has added one in the Middle East. He went on, I think it's just like widely important to get how scary that should be. It's the most reckless things that has been done. Okay, this is it, okay? This is not a science project, guys. It's an occult project. It's designed to bring aliens, demons into this world. And then you're like, this makes no sense. Actually, it does make sense, okay? Let me tell you how this works.
Ooh.
All right. So, what's going on here? These people are cultists. They understand the fundamental nature of reality. They understand that the source of reality is human consciousness. So if you're able to control human consciousness, you become God itself. What Operation Stargate is to alter reality itself. That is what Operation Stargate is. To bring aliens and demons into this world by making people focus on this and desiring it, wanting to happen. Okay? And you can accomplish this if you just make yourself omnipresent, if you make it everywhere and everything. Okay? Both nothing and everything. And this is the ultimate project of AI. Okay? Will it work? No! Okay? Let me explain why. Okay, so there are three major problems with this. The first problem is corruption. In theory, it could work, but you would need millions of people to make it happen. Okay, you need people to actually write the code, to build infrastructure. And nowadays, it's just much easier to steal the money, right? If I give you $1 trillion, do you really want to spend $1 trillion to build data centers, or do you want to steal it, okay? So corruption is a huge issue today. Second issue is the idea of inefficiency. Okay, and this is actually something that most people don't appreciate, where the more information you have to process, the more energy it takes.
Elijah E. Myers, the architect of the Texas State Capitol, is just one of those architects we got to talk about, people. Okay? He died in 1909, as this article says, and it gives a little list of a big list. Down at the end, down here, we're going to go through it. So he did the capitals of Michigan, Texas, of course, Colorado, Idaho, and Utah, and the parliament buildings at Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. He was a member of the board of examiners of the World's Fair buildings in Chicago in 1893. Setting the tone here, there's a bigger list. Let's look at it. If you didn't know what the Michigan Capitol looked like inside, this is what it looks like. This, of course, is the Lansing, Michigan High School. It was started in 1875, and it doesn't matter when it was done. This is a high school, they say.
Looks like Harry Potter went to that high school.
I mean, it's like El Paso High School. It's like, who were these kids? The Pontiac State Hospital, which is making me insane, was started in 1878, and it doesn't matter either when it was done. It had 44 structures. You want to see it? Yeah, that's it. That's all of it. That's all of it. Yeah. In 1895, Elijah did the San Joaquin Courthouse. Okay. And look at this right here. Look at these. Look at it. What do you do? Mr. Myers did the Grand Rapids, Michigan City Hall. And he also did his older brother in Richmond, Virginia.
Wow, look at that building, man. Gorgeous.
Their old city hall, which is still standing today. Let's check out the inside. This is extremely Moorish, too. I know I say it a lot, but I mean, look at it. He also did the Lucerne County Courthouse, which I had no clue that was even a place. This is also the Brazilian.
We have one building like that in Jakarta, Indonesia. It's a cathedral.
Parliament building he did in Rio de Janeiro. So here's the outside of the Michigan State Capitol. You saw the inside of the dome. This is the outside. Magnificent. The Texas State Capitol. 1882 to 1888. Think about it. Elijah wasn't even on set the whole time. Okay? He was going around building all those buildings I just showed you, supposedly. And if you want a more detailed, deep dive, go to my YouTube. There's a video called Don't You Think It's Funny on the Texas State Capitol. And it goes a lot deeper into detail. Okay? Love y'all. And have a good day.
There's this theory that all of the people who are dreaming about mall worlds are also people who were formerly in gifted and talented programs in school. And a lot of weird stuff went on in these programs.
What you mean?
A lot of people remember hearing tests. Headphones were put on our heads and weird little tones were played.
I remember this.
So the hearing test, pink drink. So a little couple pink stuff that we were supposed to drink. A lot of people are like, well, that was just mouthwash, but was it? A lot of kids remember being taken off campus to like weird locations.
I wasn't taken off campus.
That's good. But people will say that Mall World is implanted in the heads of children who were in this GATE program, because GATE was like a CIA training program, essentially, or a screening program.
Wow.
Does anybody else have a really weird feeling about the whole Rudy Giuliani critical condition being hospitalized thing? Why do I think that? Let me show you. Well, you know how we have all those researchers going missing and other bad things happening to them? Well, Rudy has spent a lot of his time pushing things like Space Force and, the fake disclosure, the false light. He's all about this whole UFO thing. He's also very, very close to the president, especially when the 2020 stuff went down. Now, look, I'm never the account that just claims that one person gets sick, there's something going on, all of a sudden it's sketchy, but there's just a really weird vibe on this situation. He obviously knows a whole lot of secret information, and to get that top secret information, you have to be part of the club. And of course, it would not be the first time that the club throws one of their own members under the bus. And by the way, of course, he's for the ballroom and all the other talking points. Back to throwing people under the bus, completely unrelated. Let me tell you guys a cool fantasy story. Not really at all. So say there's like this grand demon, and basically he really likes it when you offer up people that are part of your whole organization. The ritual means a whole lot more when, there's a relationship there. Of course, that's fiction and not the story with Rudy. Keep those eyes open.
Have you ever had a root canal or your wisdom teeth removed? If so, you might want to listen closely. Root canals and wisdom teeth removal are some of the most common procedures in modern dentistry. They're routine, normal, and barely questioned. But here's what they don't tell you. Your teeth are not separate from the rest of your body. They are living organs just like your thyroid or your liver. They have nerves, blood supply, and communication with the rest of your body. If you had a dead organ inside of you, you wouldn't just leave it there. Yet with a root canal, that's exactly what happens. According to traditional Chinese medicine, each tooth is connected through meridians to specific organs and systems in the body. So when a root canal is done and a dead tooth is left sitting inside your mouth, some believe that those entire meridians become compromised and chronic health issues can sometimes bubble up. Yet no one is connecting those health issues with a dead organ sitting inside your mouth. And it doesn't end there. When wisdom teeth are removed, you're not just getting teeth pulled. Those wisdom teeth contain powerful stem cells that are harvested, researched, and sold for massive profit. Funny how they never tell you that when they're yanking your teeth out and sending you a bill. And then people are left wondering why chronic issues never resolve. Your mouth is not separate from your body. It is one of the main gateways. Nothing about this feels accidental, but maybe I'm just a conspiracy theorist. If you want to learn how to support your whole body outside of the system, comment heal now.
This absolutely gave me chills. 5 indigenous runners from Mexico just returned home from China after dominating one of the world's hardest races, the Great Wall Marathon. And I was not exaggerating when I said this was one of the hardest races in the world. It takes place on the Great Wall of China and includes over 5,000 stairs with absolutely brutal climbs and steep descents. Over 2,000 runners from over 60 countries participated this year. And the indigenous athletes from Mexico swept the podium. The team brought home 2 gold medals, 2 silver medals, and 1 bronze across the 21K and 42K races. But one of the most incredible moments came from 20-year-old Miriam Morales, who shattered the women's half marathon record by nearly 6 minutes. 3 of the athletes are Rara Muri from Chihuahua, a community whose name literally translates to those who run fast. They have lived for centuries in the northern mountains of Mexico, where running was not a sport, but a part of life. Running through mountains and canyons in simple huarache.
Man, look at them legs.
Yes. And seeing these athletes stand proudly in traditional attire on the Great Wall of China feels symbolic in a way that's hard to explain.
This is cool.
Is a substance found in nature that has 94 of the essential vitamins and minerals every human needs every single day, and it's found in one food source. It would be considered a superfood. It's actually bee pollen. So all those vitamins and minerals, there's 94 vitamins and minerals inside of bee pollen. I would like you to find one Flintstone multivitamin for children that has 94 ingredients in it at all. You're never going to find one. In fact, you're not going to find any multivitamin for sale off a shelf through Amazon that has all 94 of these vitamins and minerals found in every particle of bee pollen. And it's cheap. It's found in nature. It is literally the ultimate food. So if you don't want to be overwhelmed with trying to buy a vitamin C supplement and
I'm taking them.
A magnesium supplement and a selenium supplement and a manganese supplement or a salt lick supplement. Why don't you just go get the bee pollen? And just take one thing every day. Take a quarter of a teaspoon every single day. Many of these couples who have been unable to get pregnant for years, have been in IVF therapy for years. By the time they come in for their physical consult 2 weeks later with me physically, from the initial over the phone consult, they've all started in the first 2 weeks, their bee pollen. Many of them show up at the consult already pregnant. And all they did was bee pollen.
Amazing. They have to tell on themselves. It's part of their religion.
The Truman Show is one of the most precise Gnostic allegories ever put to film.
If you ask a Satanist what their religion is, they don't say Satanism. They would say Gnosticism, Kabbalah, Hermeticism, Neoplatonism.
New Age.
Satanism. And just like us, everything starts with Genesis. And the serpent in the garden is everything to them. And they have come up with the belief that they can't force us to go along with their evil. The importance of free will. We make the choice to go to God. They didn't have to tell us all their bullshit. The serpent in the garden would say, "Second helping!" And he would have just shoved it down her throat. But no, he had to deceive her. It's like if you put a gun in someone's hand, put their finger on the trigger, and you push their finger into the trigger and it kills somebody. Who killed the person? They want you to make the choice to turn your back on God. But that's why their message has to be shown to us. Even Jim Carrey, I believe to be one of the biggest Satanists in Hollywood, because I don't think they give you roles like that if you're not. Him doing this on Jimmy Kimmel, you think they're just gonna let somebody do that that's not in the club?
Do you know about alchemical sexual alchemy? Sexual alchemy.
Yeah. So the point of the Truman Show is they're trying to show you God is bad.
Well, it's just a comedy film.
Right? It's about the Freemasons. Truman lives in paradise. That's Eden. He's got a wife, a great job, the town's safe. Everything's great. And the movie begins just like the Bible begins. A stage light falls from the sky. In Truman's little fake town, even the stars, the sun, everything is fake. And the stars are these stage lights. What does that stage light say? Sirius. They believe this evil god created our entire galaxy. All 8 planets, the sun, we're trapped here. And Sirius is the brightest star in the sky.
And in the occult world, Sirius is worshipped as Lucifer.
They believe our evil god's mother is named Sophia. She's the one that becomes the serpent to give the forbidden knowledge to Adam and Eve.
Please, don't listen to him. Everything I've told you is the truth.
Satan's entire purpose was to become God. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will make myself like the Most High. The goal of all these occults is not to just hurt people for no reason. It's to become God. But what does Truman do at the end?
And what must he do to escape? Sail into Kristoff's storm and experience the drowning he was programmed to fear, symbolic death and rebirth.
What does it look like he's doing?
He ascends the Freemasonic staircase of enlightenment. There's 16 total steps, but they are reflected in the water below. As above, so below. And that makes it 32 steps.
And in case I don't tell you about the last step.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
If you know
Man, I used to like Jim Carrey.
anything about sundown towns, then you know if you're driving through Alabama and you get to Coleman, Alabama, your best bet is not to stop in Coleman, Alabama. I don't care if you need gas. I don't care if you need food. I don't care if you're on your last bit of gas. Do not stop in Coleman, Alabama.
I don't
Look
care
at this
what
right
you
here.
have to do. Coming through Alabama, don't stop in this city.
Don't stop there.
Don't stop in this
The
city.
worst place to stop.
You better push that car to the next gas
Why?
station.
You're going to have some people say, oh, it's 2026. They ain't like that there. Let me start here. Coleman, Alabama is a sundown town. And in that sundown town, if you are this color, they don't want you there. Let's just put it like
How about this color?
In Coleman, Alabama, they have a sign out that tells black people, don't get caught in Coleman after dark. And you can just imagine what the rest of the sign said. Just put it like this. It's basically saying that if you get caught slipping, they're going to find you from a tree. And that ain't something the internet just made up. It's true. It's history. I'm going to leave you with this.
So Coleman, Alabama's trending. I am
from Hartselle, Alabama, which is a town that neighbors Coleman, Alabama. I would venture to say that in the same way that Coleman is a sundown town, Hartselle is too. They're one and the same. It's just a drive over. That's where I'm from. Now, we knew that it was a sundown town, right? We knew that it wasn't this German Christmas town, that it is, in fact, a sundown town, that it is not welcoming to people of color, to Black people, that it never has been, and that that's its history, right?
What's going to happen when you go there 40 deep?
They scanned it. Yep, the Russians scanned it. Kailasa Temple, if you have not been following this, buckle up.
Yeah, I know it is ancient history, this story.
Doesn't just rewrite Indian history, it rewrites human history. Because in this ancient temple, they found tool marks that prove that we don't even have tools that could do this. Context here, Kailasa was not built, it was removed from the side of a mountain, meaning they could make zero mistakes here when removing 200 to 400,000 tons of rock. And that's the first mystery. We don't know where any of that rock is. We also don't know when it was built. The main source of dating is land grants. So Kailasa Temple's right here. The first land grant was found on a copper plate 200 miles away. The second one was found even further away. That is all we are provided. The date would be useful to determine the tools used to make this. We know they had steel. India invented the steel that would later become Damascus steel. But in 1682, a Mughal emperor ordered 1,000 soldiers to destroy the temple. They had steel tools. Damage to the sculptures is extensive, and honestly, it's one of the most disrespectful things I've ever seen humans do. But there's a silver lining. It showed us just how hard the rock is to even chip. Even with modern alloys, we just don't have enough power. Basalt is hardened lava. That's a 6 on the Mohs scale of hardness. Steel barely makes a scratch in it. So these Russian dudes timed 3 different people and measured how much volume of rock was removed after a 10-minute period. This was measured using photogrammetry, and mind you, these marks look nothing like what we see on the actual walls. Result? If you worked 3 years straight, you could only remove a cubic meter of this stuff. But since Kailasa is unfinished, we actually have the witness marks, or tool marks. The penetration depth of that cut exceeds what hydraulic breakers are capable of. Those cuts show extreme levels of force were used. So how do we get big equipment in here unless they didn't use big equipment? Not just very large tools, they had precision tools. The level of detail we see in basalt is comparable to much softer soapstone, which would require a diamond tip drill bit. Using our perspective. So let's run this back. We've got flimsy dating. The time and manpower to create this are way off. We could build a great pyramid with the amount of rock that's missing from this place, and we don't know the tools they used to make it. In times like these, I do something crazy and listen to their history. Hindu tradition says this place was built by a dude called Vishvakarma. You should look into this guy, because one thing he can do is take solar radiance, measure it, reduce it, concentrate it, and convert it into divine tools. Now here's the thing, if you actually talk to a Hindu, none of them will even bat an eye if you suggest that they possibly had lasers back then. What we can for sure say about this place is that we don't know. Could they have had lasers? Maybe in a different form. I don't know. I'm just here to give you the tools to connect your own dots. If you want to watch the full doc, go check out Proto-Civilization. They did all the work. They're amazing.
Mind-blowing.
There's a theory that everything in Euphoria, the recent season, had to do with Christianity, obviously. But the characters themselves actually played out
represented something?
and represented certain people in the Bible. One of the obvious ones was Mary Magdalene, who was Cassie. Obviously, Mary Magdalene in the Bible was a worker. Who's Cassie? Only model. Maddie, what was she wearing in that one scene?
What?
She was wearing the Virgin Mary shirt. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Before Nate died. Spoiler. Sorry again.
Oh.
Okay, who's obvious? She was Moses.
Yeah.
In the Bible. Yeah, that's obvious, right?
Fact.
Who was Nate? He represented Jesus because he died, and after that, everyone was forgiven. They didn't have any trouble anymore. So he needed to die for them to get out of the situation they were in. Alamo literally played the devil.
Yeah. Who sent
That was
you?
obvious.
Rue.
Ali was pretty much playing the Reaper, the angel of death. So when Alamo took Rue's life, Ali was trying to save Rue.
Yeah, the whole time.
He had a different path for her. But since Alamo cheated the Reaper, he went after him.
And that's the devil, fam.
What exactly is the pink drink?
What is it?
That pink drink was a memory suppressant. Straight up. Most people who remember it say it was thick, gritty, and tasted like bubblegum or Pepto-Bismol. They give it right before the Zener card tests or the frequency sessions. The main theory is it had scopolamine in it, the same stuff they used in MK Ultra to wipe memories and make people compliant. Some say it was just to make the kids forget what they saw during the psychic testing, so they couldn't go home and tell their parents about the weird shit they were doing. Others think it was to block
And I say weird shit they're doing? Come on, man.
the pineal gland or suppress any psychic abilities that started waking up. Either way, it worked on a lot of kids. Your sister remembering this much means it didn't fully take on her. That's why she's having the weird experiences now. The programming's breaking down.
I mean, it makes sense with the whole, them wanting to give them the separate water, because now when she looks up that school, you can see like the outline of where the doors used to be where the gifted kids entered, that they've bricked up, and you can see where the fence used to be, that they had their own little like separated recess area. And I mean, so you can definitely tell that they tried to make it look like it wasn't there.
That's not a renovation. That's them physically erasing the evidence. The fact they bricked up the exact doors the gate kids used to enter through, that's a confession in concrete. Normal schools don't just randomly brick up perfectly good entrances years later. They did that so parents and investigators couldn't see the layout anymore and start asking questions about why certain kids had their own private access points. Same with the fence. They tore down the little special recess pen so nobody could look at old aerial photos and see the literal cage they kept those kids in. Your sister's not crazy, man. She's describing a literal black site that used to operate inside an American public school. They physically altered the building to cover their tracks. That's how you know this shit was real.
There's a rule in Hawaii that a lot of people who grew up there know by the time they're old enough to be outside after dark. If you hear drums, you have to stop, step off whatever path you're on, and get low, face down. And whatever happens next, don't look up. And there's a second part to that rule that doesn't get mentioned as often. If you hear a voice you recognize, someone who's been dead for years, calling your name from the dark and asking you to come with them, never answer. Because if you do, you probably won't be coming back. And we will come back to why. So in Hawaiian, Huakaipo means night journey. Most people outside of Hawaii call them just the night marchers. So basically they are the spirits of ancient Hawaiian warriors, and they move in procession along trails that have existed for centuries, through valleys, along coastlines, across lava fields. They walk those trails at night. And they have been doing this, according to oral tradition, since long before Western contact. And by most accounts, they are still doing it now. This has been documented across the Hawaiian archipelago, passed down through families and recorded by researchers and oral historians. The people who tell these stories are not describing something they read about. They are describing something that actually happened to them or to someone they trusted. So we're going to talk about what the night marchers are, where they came from, and what happens when someone encounters them. Before we get into the accounts, you need to understand the world this came from. For centuries before Western contact, Hawaiian society operated under a system called kapu. The word means forbidden, set apart, untouchable. It governed nearly every aspect of daily life: what you could eat, where you could walk, who you were allowed to look at. At the top of that system were the ali, the ruling chiefs. They were not simply political leaders. They were believed to carry immense spiritual power called mana, passed through divine lineage. And their presence alone was considered dangerous. In some chiefdoms, if your shadow fell across a chief's body, you could be executed. If you looked directly at certain chiefs, the punishment was immediate. Because of this, when the ali traveled between islands and temples, they often moved at night. And when they moved, they didn't move quietly.
Aline Wang. So she was the mayor of Arcadia. She was just arrested for working with the Chinese government for pushing pro-Beijing propaganda. She pled guilty for acting as an unregistered agent of the Chinese government.
She did all of that stuff before, but when she got sworn in, she didn't disclose any of her previous alliances or workings in the community that she had been.
I wonder, their recruit
Isn't that treason?
A random mayor. What else are they doing?
Was she even recruited? Was it a plant? Like, that's the interesting thing. Like, was this the long game?
All I can figure is if she's that plugged in, she's got to know some little loophole to how she was doing it.
Yeah, my brain just goes, who else is looped in on this in government? What other media voices are in on this?
Authorities say that she communicated with Chinese officials through encrypted apps and coordinated messaging efforts.
But who hasn't done that, Josh?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, who hasn't done it? We've all been there.
Yeah.
Golly, man.
1 mile up in the air over our data center, it would be 68 degrees warmer than the air around it, because that's how much heat it was putting off a mile up. You're telling me the global warming people don't have a problem with microclimates being created by these data centers that will kill tons of wildlife? And they told me it might never snow at my house again.
What?
Where are the global warming technocrats? Kevin O'Leary should get a lot of heat for what he's doing. What he's doing is not just obtuse. He's doing it speculatively. He doesn't even have clients for this proposed data center. He doesn't understand AI. I do find it very, very funny that all of these technocrats that are now all in on data centers were the same people screaming about global warming 2 years ago. I thought we needed to save the planet. It's very convenient that they're all quiet now and global warming is no longer an issue.
You know, China puts them in the ocean where there is plenty of water.
People are not scared enough of the ocean, and I'm here to fix that. Welcome back to another episode of Why Stay on Land, where I give you some self-inflicted thalassophobia right before bed. Now that you're locked in, let's talk about what you guys have been DMing me, commenting about for the past, how many days now? This video, let's watch it.
Asks us if she wants us to take a picture of us. And then the ocean, she disappears in the ocean with 2 dead things hanging from each side of her.
What is that?
I have to stay and watch this out for the show.
So apparently at Hilton Head Beach, Virginia Beach, I don't know, people are saying different locations. There is a woman that walked up to a couple and said, "Do you want me to take a picture of them? Do you want me to take a picture of you?" The couple's like, "Nah, we're Gucci." She ends up picking up 2 dead things from the ocean, walks deep into the ocean. First of all, my question is, can we get better cameramen? Because every time it has something to do with something in the water, sirens, y'all get these blurry behind videos, and I don't like that. But anyway, let's talk about it. Not too long ago, we had Gerald. We had the situation with the Florida man that ended up saying he was kidnapped by bottlenose dolphins. That's a whole other thing, a whole other shebang. He ends up coming back, writing intricate sketches, having certain kinds of seawater in his lung, proving that he clearly was in deep water. He passes the psych test, passes the rug test. Now we're seeing this, right? There are people saying, like from other videos, saying that it's some kind of watered spirit. I think that there is genuinely a marine kingdom, and people are like, oh, the veil is lifting. Y'all, the veil has always been thin because this world is more spiritual than it is physical. I am a Christian, but I feel like, I don't know. You guys tell me if you're also Christian. It's really hard to talk to other Christians about this because they look at you like you have 5 heads and they think like it's some kind of witchcraft stuff. But I feel like Satanists, literally, like people that practice witchcraft, believe that the world is more spiritual than it is physical, more than we do. And we serve the one true God. How are we over here thinking like, oh, this isn't real, that's not real? The Bible literally tells us how spiritual this world is. The canon Bible literally tells us that we do not wrestle against flesh and blood. We wrestle against principalities, spiritual wickedness in high places. Like, this stuff is not simple. It's not. I genuinely would not be surprised if that was something from the Marine Kingdom. I will say that the canon Bible doesn't really allude to there being a Marine Kingdom. I believe it's out there just because of the things that I've read in apocryphal texts, which I do not read as scripture. But like, I don't see how people can't believe that there is not something out there in the water. We haven't even explored over 5% of it. Well, I think that they have. They're just not telling us what they found. Ever since Congress was like, oh, there's a presence in the ocean, girl, you don't need to tell me anything else. I literally know. So I'm not surprised that there are more things coming out with the ocean. And this is why I have like a whole Scary Ocean series, because like, y'all, now when I step into the water, like I used to go really deep in there. Now I can't anymore. I do still enjoy going to the beach, but you're not going to catch me dunking my head and going like mad far in there. No, because it's not just sharks and other like marine animals we have to worry about. I really feel like we are not meant to be far out there. I don't know. Anyway, as always, make sure you like and follow. Comment down below what you think. Let me know if you want another part.
Yes, it exists. There's another world deep in the oceans. Even the Bible confirms it.
You know about this OPART, right? You're probably like, what's an OPART? OPARTs stand for out-of-place artifacts. And that's usually when, miners might find a hammer in coal or stone that should be millions of years old. Nobody existed at that time, therefore no artifacts should exist. And this massive chunk of aluminum was found underground next to mastodon bones. And some experts kind of dismiss it because of its appearance. They're just like, oh, it's part of the machinery from the mining operation. And then the people that support this pretty much say what seems to be reasonable is that it has to at least be as old as the bones it was next to. Since aluminum is kind of my thing, I wanted to have a look for myself and see if I noticed anything. And I did. One of the things you'll read about when you look up this thing is that patina, the amount that surface has oxidized, would be as if it were at least 400 years old. As I look at it, I don't see an oxidized surface. And one of the things I'm pretty familiar with is corrosion control. The way that our modern aluminum corrodes is very much like this, and it's quick. And that's one of the ways I knew I had something special with all these prehistoric aluminum bits. So when I heard the discussion about the oxidization, I wanted to look for myself and see if I noticed anything. And I did, but what it was not this corrosion. To me, what that looks like is original coating. And you can see, like right over here, it's about the same. And they're definitely thinking that this is oxidized because of that pitting. But as I look at it, I think this is more along the lines of wear and tear. So these dents and this damage that we're looking at actually comes from its use, because all this prehistoric aluminum that we're running into doesn't corrode. Here's an example of the kind of thing I'm talking about, where you can see where the original paint is nice and smooth, and then the damaged used area, it kind of fades into it. And so with that in mind, as you look at this photo, you can see in those areas that I pointed out, it's very much the same. It's nice and smooth. The pigment or the coating seems to be somewhat uniform. And then once you get to those used areas, it becomes damaged. And this is what those guys probably think corrosion, which, I mean, it makes sense. And honestly, I initially agreed until I looked at it further. But then something caught my attention right here. I saw a design. It's almost as if there's a star right here. It's like one of those stars with a circle in it. And in that far corner, it kind of feels like one of those Hongshan pendants or the Hongshan clothing items that we talked about with this Nephilim clothing. That's one of those symbols that we keep finding all over the world. And there's something else next to it that I can't really make out, but after looking at it a little bit, it almost feels like a modern clothing brand logo. But I would bet that this piece is much older, and there are some rumors that some of the UFOs that we now are in possession of were archaeological discoveries. If what I'm saying is true, that there was these advanced prehistorical eras, 2 of them, in our history, then we absolutely should find out-of-place artifacts, because what we have been told is wrong.
Y'all, this guy caught a shark when him and his friends went fishing on the beach. Group got together to take a photo, and they ended up catching something else in the photo on their fishing trip. In the photo of the group of guys together, there's a little girl standing off to the side. Where the little girl came from, they have no idea. She wasn't there the whole time they were there. It was just the 4 men. The man taking the photo, the man who caught the shark, his 2 other friends. Said the whole time they were on the beach, there was nobody there. It was just them. And if you look, the beach is actually gated off too. But if you look closely at the little girl, she's also almost translucent and gray. And she's just staring at the man who caught the shark. She almost looks upset. When you zoom in, you can really tell that this is not a person. This is for sure an apparition, because it's in like that grayscale. It makes you wonder, maybe she's the reason that this beach is gated off. Maybe she lost her life there or something. The photo definitely gives off a very dismal, like upsetting vibe. So what do you guys think? Let me know.
See, it definitely looked like a drowned victim.
I think this video came out even before the Epstein files dropped.
Yeah.
But there's references to it in the files itself.
About what?
Have you heard of frazzle drip?
Frazzle drip?
Yeah.
What is that?
Frazzle drip is a code word for a video that incriminates Hillary Clinton in a pizza shop.
Yeah.
And video depicts a woman who is the same height, build, haircut, facial features, and attire as Hillary Clinton. And there is a second woman who fits the same description to Huma Aberdeen.
So remember Pizzagate?
Yeah.
It turns out Pizzagate was not just the food itself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it is?
What?
They actually had ties to pizzerias in the country.
Oh, I think
and
I know
they would
about
do
that.
dark things in the basement.
I didn't know that. Never mind.
There's a video.
Okay.
And in the video was allegedly
Frazzle Drip is a video that was on Anthony Weiner's laptop in a folder on his desktop titled Insurance.
Yeah, that's mod.
Wait, that's why they call it
Wieners?
pizza. Because they use the pizza joints. They
pizzeria.
use the pizza joints.
And in the video, which looks like the basement of Comet Pizza in Washington, D.C., it shows both of the females in the video laying different on top of ping pong tables and then drinking something.
Watch this little guy right here. That flash is the moment that an embryo gets fertilized. After that is the craziest stuff that ever happens on the planet, hands down. You had a 1 in 400 quadrillion chance of winning that lottery. As soon as you did, your mom began a mathematical sequence that geometrically reconfigured the matter from dying stars into your body. She wants to make an alien with a tail, but then backpedals into a human. She does this using the placenta, the only organ that can be grown on demand. That one organ can be the heart, lungs, colon, and stomach. They make us a life support spaceship. As you float in 0G, you get epigenetics. These markers are not genes. There's an experiment that scared some mice while there was a scent in the air. As the mice had babies, the babies would get scared when the smell was in the air. This means that experiences get transmitted to the child in an unbroken chain going back all the way to your very first ancestor. Not only that, some of the cells from the baby stay in the mother forever. It's called microchimerism. The mother's DNA and the child's DNA are in the same person. And new research is showing that DNA acts as a fractal antenna, which may explain the link between when mothers feel what their child is feeling. If you're a mother, we do not have the vocabulary to accurately say how amazing you are. For now, I hope that we love you conveys a small fraction of that. Single moms, as always, go there. If you see anything you want on the website, shoot me a message. I will give it to you for free. Happy Mother's Day.
Shout out to a mother.
An 8.2 magnitude earthquake just hit the Philippines, and the footage that's coming out looks like it comes straight from a movie. Mind you, this is one of the most populated countries in Asia. From the way it looks, this earthquake tore that place apart. You had buildings crumbling. You had the earth shaking like it was water. You could see people scared for their lives. You can see power lines snapping. You can see houses caving in. They're clocking this at 8.2 magnitude, but they're saying that it could have been greater than 9. And if you look right here, you see what that says? That can totally destroy community. Matter of fact, look at this shit. Look at this building.
What the fuck?
Look at this big ass building. That building is crumbling.
Oh, we just had a little earthquake 2 days ago here in my area.
Nah. Have you ever seen some shit like this?
Oh, man, look at that.
Yeah, okay.
The building is detaching.
Have you ever seen some shit like this? They're saying that this earthquake was so strong to now they're warning surrounding countries that there may be a tsunami. You have Taiwan, Indonesia, and other surrounding countries that are being warned right now because of the magnitude of this earthquake. And listen to this. Due to the fact that we're in the Pacific, we all know that tsunamis travel. That means that if there are tsunamis, it may reach U.S. territory. Look how scared these people are. This is crazy right here. This is Mother Nature right here. This is something we can't do anything about.
The bombing of Iran was a massive demonic spell that they showed us years in advance, and it's the reason that nobody around you can seem to wake up regardless what they do right in front of you. What do I mean? Or prove it? Yeah, no problem. So last year, you remember when we had the B-52 bombers and they went and bombed, Iran with the bunker bombs? Hilarious enough, when that was happening, I told you guys what was going to happen and that everyone was going to be absolutely brainwashed, and you didn't believe me. And trust me, I'll leave no doubt that this is the exact event it was talking about. This was put out years ago, and it has basically the devil through the TV screen hooked up to the kid's brain. Quite clearly, the devil. Now, right before this happens, the kid sees uranium flash right by his eyes. Okay, hooked to the devil, uranium goes through his eyes, and then he sees the B-52 bombers hit a Iranian-style mosque, and then the false Jesus appears, can't make this up, and now the devil has full control over his brain. And just wait, there's a little bit more. So full control over the brain, and then here comes the full rollout of their fake Jesus Antichrist character, and then every single person on earth is deceived. And look around you, the spell worked. Being crazier, I told you all this last year and you said I was crazy.
So Bill Gates and the CEO of Pfizer are being ordered to testify in court. They try to get out of it, but they are being ordered to testify in court. And the accusations and the evidence that is being held against them by the plaintiffs is insane. Okay, so here are some of the evidence that they have. And they said they have strong evidence to support these accusations. So the first one is that the COVID vaccine was a bioweapon. You heard me correctly, that the vaccine was used as a bioweapon, thus going against the Bioweapons and Anti-Terrorism Act of 1989. They have strong evidence to support this claim. Another accusation is that they purposefully concealed what the vaccine was going to do. They misled the public. They worked with government officials, media, to purposefully conceal the truth. Another accusation that they are facing is that they knew that it was going to result in mass casualty, that the vaccine was going to result in mass casualty, and they're accusing them of committing genocide. These are strong accusations that the plaintiffs have strong evidence to support. Otherwise, they would not be making them. It wasn't like a world health issue. It was a government project. And they did this because they believe in population control. This is not new information. A lot of people that are part of the World Forum talk about it. Bill Gates has talked about it.
First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
So these are the accusations. They're strong. They're kind of crazy. And we hope that truth will come out, that justice will be done, that there's enough support for the truth to be revealed. And that's what I'm praying for all the victims of this that were unjustly, honestly murdered, even though that language is strong, but that is essentially what it looks like the evidence is showing. We're just going to pray that justice will be served.
He said lowering population by 10 to 15%. Those are his words.
Pay attention, y'all. Here go another one. Look, the little boy, he trying to debunk what's going on here, and he can't do it. We need to make this go viral. Y'all like, follow, share, and let me know what y'all think in the comments. Check him out. We used to take things to a whole nother level. When it comes to that energy, you see what I'm saying, in them chakras? Man, we was the coldest, and we still is. We still is. They don't want us to see this, though, y'all. They don't want to know. They don't want us to know how powerful we really is. Look at the boy. He still don't know what's going on. He trying. It's blowing his mind. Look at it.
Soft-minded people are easily fooled.
There are people who do drink blood.
Yes.
How common is that?
Not very common. Ironically enough, it's the first thing that people go to. Oh, he's real vampire. Do you drink blood? Who the fuck cares this much about someone's diet? I know like 3.
Man, why not interview someone who is a vampire,
And one of them is actually technically part of their religion.
I mean, people are, like, we watch a movie like Blade, and you got blood showers as the opening scene.
Fun fact, I've thrown 2 of those parties.
Blade? Well, hold on, what do you mean?
I've thrown 2 blood raves before.
I couldn't even imagine going in there. That's crazy.
Before we get into anything else, you need to understand this first.
So, Terrell Farnsworth, that guy who got caught lying about why he took the SD cards, his cousin is a lawyer on Tyler Robinson's defense.
A family member of the man who handled the evidence is part of Tyler Robinson's defense team. Let that sink in. The same circle connected to the cameras, the audio, and the missing SD cards is now sitting on the defense side of the courtroom.
They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie.
So ask yourself, how can Tyler Robinson get a fair trial when his own lawyer is related to a suspect who controlled key evidence? Because this case is starting to look less like a trial and more like someone being set up as a patsy. The name at the center of it all is Terrell Farnsworth. Terrell Farnsworth was the man who removed the SD cards from the cameras positioned behind Charlie Kirk just minutes after the assassination. And it wasn't just that he took them, it's that he lied about why. First, he claimed police told him to remove the SD cards. Police denied that. Then he changed the story, saying he was afraid someone might steal them. But think about that. If you're worried about theft, you take the entire camera, not just the SD cards. Terrell Farnsworth was caught lying about evidence removal. And here's the part no one can ignore. His cousin is an attorney on Tyler Robinson's defense team. So the man tied to the missing SD cards, the man who handled the evidence, is family with the lawyer defending the accused. That's not normal. That's not coincidence. That's a conflict of interest. And it leaves one unavoidable question. Is Tyler Robinson being defended, or is he being positioned to take the fall?
It was clearly all set up.
While Lucifer gets all the attention, the one actually running the hell's government, according to the Grand Grimoire, is someone most people have never heard of. His name is Lucifuge Rofocal. The name comes from the Latin Lucificus, he who flees the light, the direct inversion of Lucifer, the light bearer. Where Lucifer carries light, Lucifuge runs from it. He appears only in one text, the Grand Grimoire, a French magical handbook whose oldest surviving manuscript dates to around 1750, also known as the Red Dragon, and within that text he holds the highest operational rank, Prime Minister of Hell, the spirit who actually administers infernal power, while Lucifer reigns above. Lucifer granted him power over all worldly treasures and control of the infernal treasury. Every deal made for wealth, power, and worldly dominion runs through him. Grand Grimoire describes him as a reluctant and obstinate spirit who must be forced to appear. When he does, he demands the magician give himself over in 50 years, body and soul. And only after significant negotiation involving threats of eternal fire does he agree to a conditional pact. The pact has specific terms. The magician must share a portion of every treasure obtained, show charity to the poor, and keep the pact's existence completely secret. Break any condition, and the soul is forfeit. In the Kabbalistic traditions, he rules over the Klipov of Satariel on the Tree of Death, the shadow Sephira corresponding to Binah, the force of concealment and the hiding of divine light. The one who flees the light governs everything the world runs on. For the full ritual and Kabbalistic framework of Lucifuge Rofocal, I go much deeper inside my private study circle on Telegram. Link is in my bio. What do you think every deal for worldly power actually cost?
What does that mean? A soul forfeit?
The largest discovery in geologic and archaeological history. This account is specifically about revealing that discovery. So what is the discovery? It's simply that geologic theory is not correct. And one of our geologic layers is not natural. It's engineered. This engineering I'm talking about also applies to all the materials that are associated with this one layer. This engineering actually becomes architectural evidence of a worldwide superculture. But how is it possible that some of our layers are natural and some of them are engineered? It's because the layers of geology do not represent linear time as we have been taught. They represent snapshots of events, like cataclysms. And you know these events because they're called things like the Great Flood or the Younger Dryas. But what is this proof of this engineering? Well, the proof that I've discovered is simply I found their blueprints. I've done this in the same way that an architect will go to an existing structure, take measurements, and determine the geometry associated with that structure. And it turns out that this architectural geometry is so simple that it should be impossible. The first professional that I actually reached out to and approached to review this work and to confirm what I was finding, well, they really couldn't get past the idea to even look at the work. They weren't open-minded at all. Since I found another architect who is a little bit more open-minded, and we're going to see where we get with that. But who's responsible for this terraforming of Earth and this superculture? Likely, it's either the fallen angels or the Anunnaki. This engineering is so far outside of our capability that it's clear that these stories must be true. If you believe in the fallen angel perspective, it's pretty easy. After they fell, their leader instructed them to reform the earth in their image. which would be Serpentville, essentially, and is precisely why the majority of these images that we see in the landscape are either dragon or serpent related. Now, if you believe in the Anunnaki version of things, well, then they created this. They created the world. They created us and the moon or whatever. And likely, if these things ever return to Earth, they will be pointing to this exact same stuff that I'm trying to show you and say, see, this is the proof that we were here before.
Do you think this technology could be, in a way, similar to the nuclear one?
Earth is flat. I'll just come out and say it because I've seen some interesting maps where you have Earth that we see in the map, but then it's just one small portion of this huge other.
I've seen that too, yeah.
It's very possible that we're confined just to this smaller area. A lot of the stuff they have to show it to you and throw it in your face. NATO, that's their symbol, which I just find strange. There's a lot of Bible verses that they say it's metaphorical, but you can look at it as quite literal too. Corners of the earth, earth is in its foundations. In the Bible, it said that the sun stopped.
Yeah, Joshua.
It didn't say the earth stopped spinning. It said the sun stopped. So there's some biblical perspectives where it's like, what I really want to trust the heliocentric model. Helios would have been a watcher.
Greek mythology obsession within NASA and astrology is really strange.
Yeah, the planet names and all that stuff.
Yeah.
If it's really a spinning earth, you're flying in an airplane, which only goes 600 miles an hour. We go in the opposite direction of the rotation. We ought to be able to get places a lot faster. And if we're going in the same direction of the rotation, I don't think you'd ever get there.
There's an atmospheric pressure, right? Where anything within the Earth's atmosphere is rotating at the same speed the surface is.
That's what they say.
That blows my mind.
It appears that sightings of UFOs are not decreasing, and in fact, they are increasing. Take a look at this footage that was captured by a witness in Mexico. They noticed this orb down below them, directly above the shoreline.
It looks like a kite.
But the thing is, it's not just a typical orb. This one looks like that star, the spinning wheel, and they have no idea what it's doing. It's almost like it's gathering information. And that's what a lot of these UFOs appear to be doing. They appear to be hovering over things such as the ocean and just there for moments, as if they're taking readings. Makes you wonder. Take a look at this footage. Comment below. Tell us what you think.
Right. What is that? Looks AI to me, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's not.
Peter Thiel, the founder of Palantir, has left America. He has packed up with his family and moved to Argentina. And there's a lot going on. Devil's in the details, pun intended. Billionaire investor Peter Thiel reportedly moved his family to Argentina's capital, Buenos Aires, as a refuge from high taxes, political turmoil, and potential catastrophes like nuclear war and an AI meltdown. Now, let me back this up for a second. An AI meltdown that he's helping bring in. Nuclear war that through his many political maneuverings and technocratic maneuverings, he's also helped create a threat for. That's neither here nor there, though.
But
the movie Starship Trooper incoming.
I think maybe most interestingly is you've encountered personnel in the Air Force who have fought giants in Kandahar in Afghanistan in the mid 2000s. Is that correct?
Yeah, Steve was contacted by an elderly woman who told him that her son had a story that he needed to hear. We interviewed him, Steve and I. He showed us his CV, his credentials. He was active duty. He was a C-130 pilot, cargo pilot. One day he's flying in there. He said in 2005, he was flying a routine mission into Bagram airfield. He lands on the tarmac. He disembarks. He deplanes with his crew, and they're met on the tarmac by individuals he describes as the babysitters. And they said, this never happened. No pictures. Don't ever talk about it. And as they're standing there, as he's standing with the babysitters, he sees a forklift bringing over a crate, a huge crate. And he said the first thing that hit him was the odor. It was this pungent odor of like BO and death. And he said it was like
BO and death. You smell like BO and death.
unlike anything he's ever encountered. And then as they put this thing down on the ground so it can be weighed and loaded into the aircraft, he realized that the tarp wasn't covering the whole thing, that parts of this thing were hanging out. But it was not a normal person because it was in the fetal position, and it was hanging off the pallet in the fetal position, 9-foot long pallet hanging off the pallet. Part of its head you could see part of its head, you could see its hands and its feet hanging off the pallet, and they weren't covered by the tarp. And he said that the hair of this being was red, the skin was pale, white. He said it had 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot. And he said he and the guys that were standing around the body were actually taking their boots and putting it up to the foot. And he said it was, twice as big as 3 times bigger than everybody's boot. And so they estimated his size at 10 to 12 feet tall. So you can imagine, let's say it was 12 feet tall, 1,100 pounds. So the giant was airlifted from the Kandahar region, and the grapevine that the giant ended up at Wright-Patterson.
Was it shot?
Yes, they filled it full of ammunition. So I mean, the thing, and from what he said that it took a lot of firepower to take him down.
Man, I wonder if he was the only giant. There's had to be more, right?
The Hopi people of Arizona carry one of the most extraordinary prophetic traditions in the entire history of human civilization. Their prophecies were not written down recently. They were encoded in stone tablets, oral tradition, and rock carvings across centuries. And what they describe maps into the current moment with an accuracy that is genuinely difficult to dismiss. The Hopi understand time as a series of worlds. We are currently living in the fourth world, a world they say was given to humanity after the 3 previous worlds were destroyed through human imbalance. Fire, ice, flood. Each destruction preceded by the same pattern. Humanity forgetting its relationship with sacred and consuming the world around it. The transition to the 5th world is marked by specific signs they described long before any of them existed. A gourd of ashes fallen from the sky and burning the earth, understood by many researchers as a description of an atomic weapon, which the Hopi described centuries before Hiroshima. Cobweb covering the earth through which people communicate. The internet described by a people who had never seen electricity. The blue star Kachina, a blue celestial object appearing in the sky marking the beginning of the Great Purification, the final sign before the world shifts. The Hopi do not frame this as an apocalypse. They frame it as a transition, the end of one world and beginning of another. The transition requires humanity to choose which road it walks. The full esoteric and cosmological depths of Hopi people, I go much deeper inside my private study circle on Telegram. Link is in my bio. Which sign do you think we are already living inside?
You're looking at a dead woman. I've already died. What? I'm not alive. I inhabit this shell, but this is not me. The security has already been laid. The groundwork is already written. It is finished. So when you see me, you see a ghost. I'm here to have a human experience.
Huh? What? What are you talking about? That video is going around about Tiffany saying that she is dead and that she's a ghost. So this is Tiffany before and this is Tiffany after. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? I don't know exactly what she means. This is very strange.
That's not New York. That's New Jersey.
Creepy, but also not that far-fetched from what we know Hollywood does. So, do I think that the original died off and she had a duplicate made of herself? Maybe. Maybe that's why she looks so thin, like they all are on Ozempic, but they don't look like themselves. So maybe it's because they're duplicating themselves. Maybe it's because they're all dead and they just have a duplicate of them walking around. I mean, she literally just admitted it. Do you guys remember when Tila Tequila was exposing everything that goes on behind the scenes? And then she went crazy and now she's like super Christian, or I don't even know what she's up to now. She's gone through so many phases because they've messed with her head. I think maybe Tiffany didn't fight the system and kind of maybe leaned into it a little more. And then That's why she keeps getting recasted in all of these shows, and she's looking very different because it's not the original. This is crazy. They're literally telling us right to our faces, but of course people are going to try to interpret it any other which way they can. But I have been sent this video so many different times that I finally decided to make one on it, because what the fuck is going on, Tiff, in New York? What's happening?
Scientists just let an AI model design an entire vaccine from scratch, and its entire goal is built to protect you against viruses that have not even infected humans yet. Normally, a vaccine can obviously only protect you from one virus at a time, but these scientists fed an AI model the genetic code of a whole family of coronaviruses. And then they basically just told it to find the one thing that they all have in common. They're saying that the AI came back with one single ingredient that trains your body to fight the entire family all at once. And this is now officially the first time in ever recorded history that the medicine inside of a vaccine was designed by a computer, not a human. Okay.
Scientists at Cambridge University have used artificial intelligence to entirely develop a vaccine which they say could protect against a huge range of viruses and prevent pandemics.
In the trial, it didn't just work on COVID. They're saying that it also worked on bat viruses that haven't even infected a single human yet. So they're literally saying that this thing could protect you from a pandemic that hasn't happened. Hello? They're saying that if we're able to get the vaccine ready before the next outbreak, we could completely skip lockdowns entirely. They are already pointing this exact AI model at Ebola and the flu, and they're scaling up the trial to over 200 people next. The question really is, would you take it?
This is how Resident Evil starts. Stop trying to play God.
If you think Indiana Jones was out looking for a literal gold box in the desert, you've been lied to. Let me show you what the Ark of the Covenant actually is. So ladies, your womb matters more than you could ever imagine. The church banned the Gnostic Gospel of Philip because it revealed a dangerous secret. It explicitly states the holiest of holies is the bridal chamber. The innermost sanctuary of Solomon's temple was never just a room. It was an exact architectural map of the feminine reproductive system. Look at King Solomon. History paints him as this ancient playboy, a guy with 700 wives and 300 concubines. Solomon wasn't just some fuckboy. He was the master architect, and he was on a lifelong...
Solomon is what? Fuck boy.
Desperate mission to find the Ark of the Covenant. In his final esoteric writings, the Songs of Solomon, he finally realizes the truth. The Ark wasn't in a box he could possess. It was activated in the feminine womb. He realized that by scattering his energy across 1,000 women, he was completely locked out. He learned that the Ark only opens and divine power only flows when the masculine creates absolute, impenetrable safety and stillness for one woman. Why has there been millennia of patriarchal misogyny and the brutal suppression of the feminine spirit? It goes back to the very beginning. In the book of Enoch, the angel Casbiel is the keeper of the oath. The Watchers, who we've talked about before, embed this sacred covenant, the literal cosmic codes of creation, directly into the womb of a woman. The Archons, the jealous architects of this matrix, were terrified. They chased after the Ark. By extracting this feminine energy forcefully, uninvited, and without safety, they corrupted the code. This non-consensual extraction created the Nephilim energy, the chaotic survival-based patriarchal frequency that has been running our world and suppressing our women for thousands of years. Here's the thing. Your body is a biological condenser. And when I say condenser, here's exactly what I mean. Your physical body is a manifestation tool. When it vibrates at a specific frequency of safety and stillness, it takes unseen energy and condenses a completely different new level of material reality into physical form. Women, you are the holder of the oath. You are the keeper of the Ark. It only opens when true safety is created. So protect your gate. Stop letting the masculine extract from you without earning the right to your temple. Thank you, and I love you.
Man, so Solomon's obsession with lust ultimately destroyed him. All right, folks. Thank you for staying till the end. I hope you like my lineup. Don't forget to watch my next video, okay? Have a wonderful day. And always, God bless you and your family.